So with chemo, for instance, like you're explaining about a guy that's a bouncer. Joe's son is the money guy. Who knows what he's doing? But
went to jail for raping a dude.
I think he went to jail for a gang rape of a woman and when in jail raped a dude and then killed a cellmate.
Okay.
I think, you know what I mean? It was in there. It's just not
it's all possible here. It's all possible.
He crossed that line either way, went the Brett Rogers route.
Strange guy.
How does he get the money to pay for privates for Hickson for somebody else? Which is very smart, I might add.
Chemo?
Yeah.
Pretty sure Joe was paying for everything. Chemo, I don't want to get into his personal life, but he did a lot of drugs. He partied a lot, and whether he sold drugs or not, I don't know. But Joe was always driving around in like crazy Benzes and stuff like that. He had money before all this, and I don't know from what. No idea.
What was it like hanging out with Joe's son?
I mean, I tried not to. I only saw him at the gym, only trained him at the gym. Sometimes at Powerhouse weightlifting gym in Huntington Beach, I would see him outside, and that's kind of how we met and got started anyway, because I was friends with Chemo, and then Joe was there and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time with him.
I was there once when he fought in Japan for the Pride Day. He was a straight nut, man. He showed up, literally drove straight to the fight from the airport. He missed his flight, showed up the day of the fight, and went there, had like I showed. I had no cup on. I'm like, dude, if anybody in this world needs to have a cup, it's you. You got. I mean, Keith Hackney hit you about 15 times in the nuts. They made him put a cup on. He had this thong on. It was nuts. And just talking to him, something was wrong with that guy, man. He was not all there.
He was definitely not
crazy.
all there.
I was like, oh, man, this guy's on a different planet.
While we're talking about some of the crazies, and you mentioned John Lober. Now, where did he come from? Because this dude's about as hardcore as you get from back in the old days.
I have a great story about John Lober for you.
Take it away. I mean, just for context, Frank Shamrock's full-out MMA debut was with John Lober. John Lober beat the piss out of him until Frank got what fighting was about. But Lober was mean. Go ahead. I'll take it away.
So I met John, I think through Todd Medina originally. Todd had a cage, and we used to train at his gym a lot too. With early on, like I was in Todd's corner when he fought in the UFC 5. And John wasn't around yet, but he did show up a short time later, already tough. He didn't know a lot, but he was tough. And me and him used to train at the Thunder Center together a lot. And we just show up and train. And he was really strong, abnormally strong. I don't know if you remember when Igor had him in a guillotine, he picked him straight up over his head and threw them both backwards, in extreme fighting, fought Igor Vacancian. But he was really crazy guy. After his Frank Shamrock fight, I showed up to his house. He answers the door with blood all over his shirt right here and a bong in one hand and a beer in the other hand. And I was like, and I looked at his shirt and I'm trying to figure out why there's blood. He took a razor blade and sliced. He had massive cauliflower from the fight. He sliced it open and stuck a straw inside it and taped it and just let it drip out onto his shirt while he stood there and was like hanging out watching TV with blood dripping out of his ear onto his shirt, just left it open. And I'm looking, I'm like, what is wrong with you, dude? But he was so crazy, man. He would show up to jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.